when you were small, what did you want? Was football on the list? Did you want to be a professional football player? What did you want to be growing up in Flint?
Coming up in Flint, I always knew I wanted to be in entertainment.
Okay.
Because I came from the art thing. I was an artist, painting, drawing,
oh, really? Okay.
Sketching. My first scholarship wasn't in football. I had a scholarship to Western Michigan University as an artist.
Okay.
And then I walked on to the football team.
Right. Had that bug, huh?
Yeah, listen, well, this is the thing about football. What was kind of crazy with me is that football was a way out of Flint, Michigan. Okay. I followed all the greats. There was Andre Rison.
Yep.
There was Carl Banks.
Yep.
There were the people, even just any kind of athletic. I mean, Glenn Rice went to Flint. I used to watch Glenn play with Northwestern before he went on to Michigan and went on to the Lakers and became a superstar. So I knew athletics was going to be my way out.
Right.
Because no one was going to pay me to paint. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I was airbrushing t-shirts and
right.
doing all this stuff. You get $500 maybe, you know what I'm saying? But with sports, I knew, I said, this is going to be my way out. I had friends that were on Ready for the World. It was either music or sports. I couldn't sing, couldn't do that thing. And I said, well, this is going to be my thing. But the big thing about it is that for me, football was always a means, but it was never the end.
Right.
Which is wild because it took me years to figure out I never really liked football.
Wow.
You just
happened to be good at it. You were good enough at it to get to walk on. Did you earn a scholarship?
Yeah, I earned a scholarship.
Right.
I walked on, earned a scholarship, got drafted in the 11th round.
Right.
To the Los Angeles Rams in 1991,
Mm-hmm.
then got cut later on, and then went to the Packers, the Chargers, the Redskins, Eagles, hopped all around because it was my way it was the only way I saw to make some money.
Right.
But the big deal is that, and this is another thing, man, we played at the same time.
We did.
You were you. You became superstar, Pro Bowler, the whole thing. I always thought, well, maybe it wasn't for me. But the real thing I realized is that because of this deep down belief that I didn't really like football that much. I wasn't really.
You liked it, you didn't
I wasn't
love it.
studying it. You see what I mean? Like,
yes.
There was a thing where you had to go to a whole nother level to be at your level.
Yes.
And it was other things I wanted to do. There was just so many other interests. Like I'd be in practice and my mind be going off on what I was going to be doing afterward and what I was going to do before and what and I have to say this because it's funny. My wife, my wife was there the whole time. We've been married 34 years.
Okay. Congrats.
And she said, baby, maybe you wasn't that good. And I said, you're probably right. But the thing is, while you're doing it, you're thinking, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do.
Right.
But I realized when I look back, I didn't study my plays enough. I didn't do the little things because I had my interests. My minds were always in another place.
Had you given football what you given your entertainment career, do you think you would have been better at it?
Absolutely. But it was too little too late.
Right.
Once you start tooling around, also how I came in in the 11th round.
Right.
So it was
12 rounds back then. It's not like the same round. It was 12 rounds back then.
People are looking now, they're like, 11 rounds? No, that's way back. Which is basically a glorified free agent. Mm-hmm. But I had some people who believed in me. I was a hustler. And that's another thing too. I couldn't catch, I couldn't throw. My ability was the ability to take tremendous amounts of pain.
Right.
I was a special teamer. I was that guy
wedge
that would just blow up the wedge. They don't even have a wedge anymore. Okay? But I was the guy they was like, he's giving it up every time. Right. And that would make me stick on a team.
Right.
But then when it came down to play and doing the thing, it was...
To being a linebacker and hold a specific position.
I had to be, and this is the thing, it took years for me to realize that and to come to grips with that. Mm-hmm. Because you always like, I know I was good enough, because of your own pride.
Right.
But then when you look back and you're like, man, there were people that was just better. They were willing to do more. But then once I got in entertainment, I realized that's the key.
That's what it was meant to be.
That's the secret.
How supportive was your family when you were growing up? Did they know you wanted to be in the entertainment? Because Flint is a very blue collar, hardworking. Normally you go to the factories and that's what you do. You graduate high school, you go to the factories or you go to the military and that's it. So how supportive was your mom and dad, your family members with you like, man, I'm going to be an entertainer. I'm going to be in Hollywood. I'm going to do this. Did they look at you like, man, you out your mind?
Yes. First of all, you got to understand, I feel like I got to go to the biblical story of Joseph.
Okay.
You know, when he told his brothers, yeah, you look, hey, one day y'all all going to bow down to me. And they was like, oh, really? And they sold it.
Right.
I used to tell people what my dreams were all the time. I was like, I want to be on TV. I want to do movies. I want to make movies. I want to draw. I want to do this. And they were looking at me like I was from another planet. They like, hey, man, you in Flint.
Right.
What are you talking about? You are so far removed from all that stuff. And it kind of got me in trouble a lot. My mother got me in trouble, you know, back then and now. But I also realized it was one of the things where, you know, I had big, big dreams. And what was a big, big thing for me is my dad, you know, my father was an alcoholic, but also he was one of those guys that came up from Georgia, a little small town, Edison, Georgia, worked his way up, got a factory, and created a life for us. But at the same time, he was a little jealous. I mean, he looked at y'all didn't work as hard as I did. Y'all didn't do the things that I did to get where I'm from.
Right.
Y'all really experienced life. It was one of them things.
Okay.
And so he was always he never liked sports. My father hated sports.
Okay.
He would always want me to go to the Army. My mother was super religious, which at the time, you know, going to church, I wasn't allowed to go to movies. I wasn't allowed to play sports. I wasn't allowed to dance. I wasn't allowed to listen to secular music. Everything I do today, I was not allowed to do when I was a young man. And so I didn't get to play sports till later, like ninth grade, 10th grade, when they I cajoled them and they kind of my mom got out of the religious stuff a little bit, but it was really, really strict, man. And when I would start talking about that stuff, they were like, we can't even go to the movies. But you're talking about being in entertainment.
Right.
It was hard, man. It was real. I felt like a black sheep. I felt like a guy that was always kind of eyes in the clouds. I'm left-handed. Everybody else was right-handed. I'm drawing. Everybody's like outside playing. They're like, hey, man, what is going on?
Do you think because normally the way kids are with parents, the more parents don't want a kid to do something, the more you drive that kid towards that. Yeah. And because they didn't want you to play sports and they didn't want you to, they couldn't see your vision of being an artist and being in Hollywood. Yeah. Did that drive the passion to make you want to get to it even more?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, you know, it's kind of wild because I even have problems, you know, there's family members and different things. A lot of guys counted me out even back then. And now they're like, oh, okay, you did your thing and whatever. But it's one of them things where you never forget that.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I always felt like I had something to prove. Mm-hmm. And that was a part of the reason I got into football. Mm-hmm. But then also, once I got in entertainment, I knew there was no way back. Like, you got to understand, when I moved out I retired from the NFL and moved to LA with my wife, we didn't know anybody. We had to start from scratch. And I had my little severance package from the NFL. Wasn't a lot of money. I didn't make a lot of money. Then. Very little.
It's still very little right now. So don't feel bad. It's not like it's not like it's millions right now. Trust me.
Oh, damn it. I thought these cats getting paid now. No, I guess not. But you know, I was a journeyman. Right. So I had to start from scratch, man. My first job in LA was sweeping floors. Mm-hmm. And there was a point where I thought, you know, and then everybody had counted me out by then. I mean, even there was family members that were like, he had a chance, he blew it.
Right.
You know, that was the consensus. And it was like, well, yeah, I told you this NFL thing.
Did you have people to say, you know what, man, bro, you in the NFL and you gave that up to come do this?
Yep. First of all, they were looking at like, why you keep getting cut? That was the other thing. Yeah. And it was like, obviously it's not working out. And they was just, you know, it's one thing where you got a lot of people, family, friends, or so-called friends, waiting for you to fail.
Right.
And that's a big drive. Though.
Yeah.
For me, it was like, I love when you count me out. You know, It's like one of them things where I got to show Everyone. My wife, my wife has always been by my side. And there was one time even when she came to me and she was like, Terry, look, she said, we hurting. She said, we ain't got no money. We starving. We got these 2 kids at the time. She was pregnant with my 3rd. And we have 5 total.
Yeah.
And so she was like, what are we going to do if we struggling like this and it's not working? Then when are we going to go back? Are we going to go back? I said, we are never leaving. I don't care if it happens when we're 99 years old. We are never leaving LA. I promise you this. I said, if we just continue to do this, because this is where I had kind of learned the mistakes I had made in football.
Okay.
And I didn't have another chance on football. You know what I'm saying? It was kind of like, man, if I had just studied a little bit more, if I had worked a little bit harder, if I'd have really, really done what I should have been doing. Because that's the thing. You tell yourself you've been doing what you should be doing.
But deep down,
but then you eat the cake.
Yeah.
And you hang out.
Right.
And you do that and you stay up too late. And you don't go to bed. And you totally mess your stuff up. You show up late for the job interview and then be like, they didn't want me. They hated me. It's like, no, you showed up late, bro. And I totally had to be honest with myself, man. Start marking off things that I wasn't doing. And I said, okay, what I'm going to have to do, and this is the way I framed everything, even when I was here in LA. I said, imagine, what if I'm sweeping this floor, man? Now, you understand, I'm almost in tears while I'm sweeping this floor because I'm going, dude, my life may never, ever get back to where I saw. Because once you're in the NFL, you at least see it. You see the money. You see the stuff. You're like, man, I'm there. I can touch it.
And then the nice cars and the jewelry.
Oh, you see the cars pulling out the lot. You see the jewelry. You see the people living the life and the press. And then all of a sudden, but it's gone. And it's gone.
Right.
And I said, man, look, okay. I said, imagine if someone was going to give me $1 million to sweep this floor. How would you sweep it? And these are the little bitty mindsets and I remember I was like, okay. I have to imagine I'm going to get $1 million if I sweep this floor correct. Because I had to play these kind of games with my head in order to get over the depression.
Right.
And I remember sweeping, and all of a sudden I forgot about my problems. I forgot about it. In fact, I was doing something about my situation. And I decided to do that about every menial job that I ever had. I was filing papers that fell over in the Veterans Administration, all the papers that fell over in the Northridge earthquake. I'm filing papers. I'm doing this. Then I started doing security for movie sets. But it wasn't like, bodyguard. It was literally, I'm standing outside on the parking lot, watching with a flashlight, watching it. But what I said is, what if someone gave me $1 million to watch this parking lot? I make sure I have my batteries and my flashlight. I iron my clothes. It was a mindset that I said, I'm going to reverse that bad attitude I had in the league that didn't get me where I wanted. I said, now every job I have to treat like that. And what's so crazy is that I started to do everything like that.
Right.
Like every little, it created a habit in me that kept me going. And so it didn't really matter what people said. I felt like I was getting this imaginary reward.
Right.
If I just did a great job.
Right.
I literally, if I just pleased God, that's all I had to do.
But you mentioned depression.
Yeah.
Because here you are, you had spent 5-6 years in the NFL, and now you're sweeping a floor in a warehouse or a factory and you're filing papers. So how did that mess with you mentally to know that you had a chance and you saw everything, all your dreams could have been solved, even though it wasn't the path that you really wanted to be on, but a lot of your things could have been solved had you just did that.
Yeah. Well, it was one of them things where my wife literally, because the depression is real. When you quit football, it's almost like the military. You're trying to figure out what am I now? How am I going to continue this? Now, and I have to say this too, and so many ball players never figured it out, Shannon. I mean, I'm 55. I can count almost 30 people that are dead from the NFL that I played with.
Right.
There ain't even 30 people in my class at high school that passed away.
Right.
But in the NFL, gone. I mean, people that I played, Junior Seau, just the other day, Frank Wycheck. It blows my mind, man. I mean, people that I play with, I'm sitting there like, wait, Steve Hendrickson's gone. Kevin Green is gone. I was Kevin Green's backup. He's gone. And it says there's something to this. And it's usually after they retire and they go through this mindset of what am I right now? And you may never find it.
Right.
And I thank God that I have my wife to help me come back to life, because she was like, Terry, she said, you are bigger than this. You are more than this. You have to understand that this is you are past this. Now, again, there were times when I didn't believe her.
Right.
But it was one of the things where I got so depressed, I got out of shape, and I remember my wife came up behind me, and this was a life-changing moment, man. She came up behind me and pinched my back fat. Now, I was always proud of how I looked, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I said, what you doing? It's okay, it's cute. And I said, hey, ain't nothing back there. She said, oh, it's back here. I said, what in the what? And I remember saying, okay, if I could change my life if I just go back to the gym. And this is the thing, man, I hadn't worked out in a year. I was depressed, I was tired. I walked in the gym and I told them, I said, I want to work out here. And I ain't never paid to work out nowhere. Right. And they're like, yo, that's $25 a month. I said, $25 a month? I said, but no, I'm going to work out here. And they said, yeah, it's $25 a month. I remember going, okay, I put my money down and I went in the gym and I was so depressed. I went in, sat on a machine, read a magazine and went home. I said, but I got to come back. I said, make sure I come back 21 days. And I made a promise to myself, just keep coming back. And dude, that turned into 30-something odd years, man. Wow. I'm right here. Like, I never stopped that whole time. But that was what I have to say is these things are what I call incremental. It's not one big giant thing. For me, it was always one little message, one little thing. And when I moved out here, I started trying to get my thing on animation, because I was like, I'm an artist, so I can show you my portfolio. And I had my portfolio in at Disney, at DreamWorks, at Hanna-Barbera, all this stuff. But then at the same time, hand-drawn animation went out the window because Toy Story came out.
Right.
So all of a sudden, they was giving me my portfolio back like, that don't work. And then I got a chance to act. And the rest is history. I did not know that was my destiny. I had no idea. I actually was watching Cube's car on the set of Next Friday. And I was watching with all these guys walking around this movie set as a security guard. Right. And Cube would walk by every day and I'd watch his car. I'd say, yes, Mr. Cube, how are you, Mr. Cube? He'd be like, yeah, what's up, man? Walk by like, we just watch the car. And then all the way to being in the next movie, Friday After Next.
Right.
Which gave me my shot, which really blew me up, which, just being close, being it. A lot of times for me, it was just showing up.
Right.
And being open to it, because here it is. I didn't even know this was my destiny.
Right.
You know what I mean? I never told anybody that I wanted to act.
Right.
I was trying to be a filmmaker and do all this stuff, but it's unbelievable, man. And when I see that, I got a star on the Walk of Fame, and this stuff is still, I'm the most grateful man in this town, man, 100%.
When you tell your kids, and one day you're going to be able to tell your grandkids, I don't know how old they are, or even like, bro, I was in the league, I played against Barry, played with Jackie Slater, played with Kevin Green, I played with some of the all-time great players. When you look back, are you in awe? Because I remember when I first got into the league and I saw all the players that I had watched on television, from Jerry Rice to Joe Montana to Lawrence Taylor and all these guys. I'm like, wow. One day, even if I don't have a long career, I can say, well, man, I was on the field with this guy, I was on the field with that guy. Yeah. Do you ever look back and think about the journey that you went on through the NFL?
All the time, every day. First of all, this is the thing. People always measure success by, oh man, this was the first round pick. He's the big height. He's the guy. And then, you know what? They measure success from people who are good to great.
Right.
But to me, the true measure of success has always been how long your journey was.
Right.
Meaning it was horrible to great.
Right.
You know what I mean? Listen, when I look at what Flint, Michigan, is right now, and I look at where I came from, and I look at the friends, the people I came with, and how they ended up, and how so many people fell to the side. I just go, man, and I'm still here. Not only am I still here, I'm thriving. I have to look at the whole journey. I got to look at how far I came, as opposed to, oh man, yeah, I'm good. I'm here now, and I want this and that. But I realized, man, I am one in a million.
Right.
And this is where the gratitude comes from.
When during the season, and because it's tough, you mentioned the teams that you played for, the Rams, you played for the Packers, you played for the Washington, to get cut during the season, and you got to tell your wife, baby, I got released today, and what was she saying to you? Baby, we might need to get this up.
Can I tell you a story? This is crazy.
Sure.
Here I am, 1995. I'm on the Washington Redskins. There was a time when, they had the depth chart sitting up there and the whole thing, and it was right after camp. And they said, congratulations, you made the team. And, it's Monday of the week where you're about to get ready for the first game. And I'm going, oh my God, this is it. I tell my wife, we celebrate. We went through the cut down days and the whole weekend. It's Monday. We go to practice. I practice all day. My wife, while I'm in practice, she checking my kids into school because we had to wait until I found out if I made the team.
Right.
Right? And this was not 95, it was 96. And here I am, North Turner's the coach, and I'm like, I'm so happy we made it. I go to practice. I go home. I'm tired. I come home. And they say, hey, man, come back up to Redskin Park and bring your playbook. Wait, I had signed my kids in the school. I said, wait, but I went through the whole cut down.
Right.
Bruh. I said, wait a minute, y'all joking. Somebody playing with me. Monday, I'm preparing for the week.
Right.
Brought my playbook up there. They said, we're going to let you go, man. On that Tuesday, which is the NFL day off, they brought another linebacker from another team. And I was sitting out there the whole time. And I was gone. That level of pain, and my wife is looking, and she's like, but I thought we made it, babe. Dude, I get choked up thinking about it right now, man. My kids are like, so I can't go to this school? I'm like, we're going to work something out. Dude, I sat the whole year. Didn't get picked up. Tried to find ways to make it work. Nothing. Dude, you talking about a level of and then I was stuck in the city where I got cut from, because you can't just hop up and leave. I'm there with my family. I'm moving with my parents.
Right.
And so I'm watching the friends are like, hey man, yeah, I'm calling, hey guys, what y'all doing? And they're like, we got a game. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I can't hang with them no more. So I'm lonely, man. And it's just me and my wife sitting in the town waiting for what's next. Bruh, that's something that is never really talked about. That so many players, because the sacrifice is you've been there for a whole year. Remember, you don't get your money till the game.
Right.
So I spent 6 months on $200 a week to work out. And just knowing, just giving, you risk everything so you can make it, and so you can at least get that game check.
Right.
And I didn't get that.
Was Washington your last stop?
Philadelphia Eagles was my last stop, because I went the whole season and got picked up right before Christmas for the playoffs for the Eagles. So I got to play with that one last, and we played the 49ers and got in a wild card game and got sent out. And that was it for me. That was it. I mean, I played that one game, got me a little money, got that one game check at the end of the season.
Right.
And then
a little playoff money.
And that was it.
Was that the final straw? Was that when you knew, man, it's over for me? I'm done.
But wait,
the stress on your family, you is one thing, but you got wife and kids, T.
But wait, I put her through it one more time, because I got a tryout with the 49ers. And I said, but you chase it. Right. You chase it. Hey, man, it's like a drug.
It is. It absolutely.
It really is, man. It's one of them things where you're like, I'm this close. And man, I went and got a tryout with the 49ers, and I remember this coach threw the ball at me. And for some reason, he was about me to you, man. He went, woo! Stuck my hand up, boom, and my finger was pointing downward. And I was like, yo! And I knew it was dislocated. I popped it back in. It was swelled up like a sausage. And I fumbled around that tryout, man. That's when I knew it was over. Like, when I'm running around there and I'm going, what am I doing? What am I doing? This is it. I don't have it no more. Like, I don't know if I can summon the strength to go through this again, you know? And that was it. And then my wife, because now, I got to go back all the way back to college when I was dating my wife. I told her, we were sitting at a Wendy's parking lot. We were sitting in the Wendy's. They had little places in the front where we sit there. And I said, look, first I'm going to play in the NFL. Then we're going to move to Hollywood. We're going to make movies. I made that promise. You see, because I always talk.
Right.
And that's what got on everybody's nerves. Right. Okay, they was like, he talking again.
Yeah.
But I told her, I said, that's what we're going to do. We're going to play in the NFL. Then we're going to move to Hollywood and make movies. She was like, okay. When I came home from that audition, from that tryout, she looked at me and she said, remember when you said we're going to move to Hollywood and make movies? You ready?
Wow.
Yes. You see that right there? When I talk about somebody who's down with you, she said, remember when you said that? Let's go, man. And I said, you serious? You serious? She said, let's go.
Right.
We was in a little town home that we had rented from another player, no furniture in it, just trying to see what's next. We loaded everything in our truck. I had an old Nissan Pathfinder at the time. We loaded everything, put our 2 girls in the back, and drove straight out to California. Didn't know anybody. Whew!
Wow.
That's bad. I'm telling you, that's power.
What was it that she knew you so well? She had been with you for so long. She saw you come home, not to make it, baby. I don't think I made it, and to know it's over.
Yep.
It's time to transition into that second part. You know how you said, I'm going to go play in the NFL and then we're going to go make movies?
Yep.
Well, that first part is over.
Yep.
Let's close the door. Let's open this door.
She was so gentle with it. Like, you know, because again, with me, you know, going, like I said, we lived out of suitcases, man, being packing and moving and she was like, honey, are you doing everything you're supposed to do? Right. I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm supposed to do what I'm supposed to do. You know.
Did she ever tell you, Terry, I don't think you're putting your heart into it. I don't think you're putting everything.
She was gentle with it. She's like, well, shouldn't you be doing, I noticed you're not doing this kind of thing. She would always kind of be real with me. And I was like, no, I'm doing enough. But again, as male arrogance and the whole thing, and I'm the man in the family, I know what I'm doing. She knew. She was watching. But finally, she saw how broke I was after that 49er tryout. She was like, babe, you dream.
You was mentally defeated, huh?
I was done, dude. Like, when I say done, I think she just saw it in my face. Like, everything in it was like, you know, and this is the thing where most players hit. You know, no matter how high it got.
Right.
When it's time to go, very few get some kind of parade. You know what I mean? You get kind of kicked out. You kind of like, all of a sudden you just disappear.
The getting in is easy. It's the getting out that's hard.
It's hard, man.
Especially when you don't leave on your terms.
Oh, and how many ever get to do that?
No.
Tom Brady might, but Barry Sanders did.
Yeah.
That's where everybody looked at him like, what? This man just decided it on his own?
Right.
But usually it's injury. Usually it's cut. Usually they want one more shot and they're not getting it.
Right.
Man, that's some pain, man.
So if the NFL asks you, say, well, Terry, I mean, you played in the league. What's some of the advice? And we got guys and we need you to talk to some of these rookies that's coming in about transitioning from the game once it's over. Yeah. What advice would you give some of the younger players, knowing that there's going to come a time? And I know you think because you're 21 and 22, you're going to play 50 years, but you're not. What is some of the advice you would give them about transitioning into a post-career?
The biggest thing is humility. Humility. It's really, really hard. And this is one thing. Sweeping floors humbled me. Like, there's a breaking that you have to go through. Because there was a long time I wouldn't do that.
Right.
And I was like, hey man, I'm too proud for this. And what would everybody think if they see me sweeping the floor?
Right.
And my wife was like, they don't know you. Nobody knows you. You wasn't that popular, But in my head,
right,
I'm this. Right. Everybody knows me as this. And man, let me tell you something, Shannon. Now I've been doing Hollywood for 20 something odd years. And what blew me away is perspective. And this is what I want to tell any young person coming up. Perspective. First of all, I've been to Korea. Korea don't care nothing about the NFL. They don't know anything about it.
Right.
I was looking for scores, couldn't find them. I went to South Africa, looking for the NFL scores. They're like, what are you talking about? It's rugby over here, bro. I said, okay. I've been to Hong Kong. Don't care about no NFL. Then I'll go to Europe. And I'm going, okay, well, how about it? What do y'all think about it here? They're like, it's okay. Mm-hmm. That's interesting. Then I realized, wait a minute. In my head, it's this gigantic beast. And it is in America.
Right.
But I said, the rest of the world, when I went to South America, they don't care. I went to Brazil, they don't care about the NFL. And I said, dude, you gotta understand, it's a big, big world. And there's so much out there for you. And you have to find it. You have to find it. And this is what I would tell every young man, is that there's something bigger than the league for you.
Right.
You have to find it though. But that's a hard belief. It's like when everything, and you spent your whole life 24/7 being this thing, and you have to flip it, and all of a sudden it means nothing anymore. That's where the humility comes in.
Yeah, because I think so many people find the NFL is who they are.
Yeah.
And because it's who they are and not what they did,
yes,
it's hard to separate because you think, no, you're not. No,
this is why, again, man, this is why I'm so proud of you. I'm proud of Mike Strahan. I'm proud of players that have come out and have literally realized, wait a minute, I'm bigger than this. Wait, man, you bigger than the game. That's what I have to tell this to every NFL player. You are bigger than the game. The game needs you, not the other way around. But you have this belief because your mind gets played with a lot.
Right.
It's the manipulation is real. Mm-hmm. That's one of the things that makes you get in the NFL. Most of these players been manipulated since college. You know what I'm saying? So you trained in that.
Right.
And so when you wake up and realize, wait, it's a whole nother world out here, but a lot of cats don't believe it.
Right.
And this is where I've seen cats commit suicide by overeating, or suicide by putting a gun on themselves, right, or suicide by drinking, suicide by whatever. I mean, they have the hardest times, right, because they think the whole world is thinking of them as this. And if you just switch it and turn it around, it's a new future.
I think it was a lot easier than what you gave yourself credit for, because football wasn't what it is. You liked it, you didn't love it.
Right.
When you get other people that they love it,
yeah,
and everything that they are, their entire fiber, yep, is NFL football or being an NFL player.
Yep.
And when that doesn't work out, they don't see the world. That's their world.
Yeah. Yeah.
And everything that comes along with it.
You're right. I mean, that is the problem. The biggest advantage I had was not being a superstar. That was my advantage.
Right.
I don't know if I'd be here if I had been a superstar.
Right.
If I had seen the level that Junior Seau had seen.
Right.
I don't know, man. I really don't. I could honestly say that would have been such a hard fall that I don't know if I would have been able to survive it. And the thing is, too, man, there's another thing I had to learn, and that the NFL taught me that I had to unlearn: competing. I decided to never compete with people. This was my problem, because they call it the sin of comparison.
Right.
When I'm looking at what you got and comparing what I got, it's always going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Always.
Right.
Because you're always going to come up short.
Yeah. Yes.
Somebody always got more.
Right.
And then somebody always got less, but you always want more.
Right.
And I realized, man, that creativity was the exact opposite of competition.
Right.
If I'm being creative, I'm not competing. So I decided, you know what? Because everybody was like, hey, man, you gotta, when you gotta be like Tiny, you gotta be this, you gotta blah, blah, blah. I was like, no. I'm gonna be me. I'm gonna be me. And they was like, yeah, but you kind of weird. I said, yeah, I am.
That's what made me unique.
I am. All right. Listen, first of all, you can't even, it got to the point where you read scripts now that we want a Terry Crews type. Because they know that's just me.
Right.
And I decided by just being creative, that was my ticket out of that world of competition. Because this is the thing, man. The league is always,
it's got to be competition.
It's like, hey man, you versus so-and-so.
Right.
You wait, first of all, you got to fight the people in your own locker room first.
Yeah.
Before you even go up against another team. You know what I mean? And then you always being judged like, well, you missed a step and, did you miss that? But he didn't.
Right.
The coaches would never, they will always tell you what you messed up on.
Right.
And then being black, we would go into the locker room and if you hurt, they act like, you act like you don't want to play. I'll say, hey man, first of all, the white kids get hurt and they're like, yeah, he's hurt.
Right.
But I've never ever treated any black guy I knew in the locker room like he was really hurt. Wow. Like he was trying to cut out on the game.
So in other words, you said I got to unlearn because you know it's a jungle mentality because someone is literally trying to take food off your table. Someone is trying to take a roof from over your kid and your family head to make sure they have one. But once you got into the entertainment space, you're like, I'm not competing against him.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what can I do?
I'm in my lane.
First of all, I didn't go to school to act.
Right.
I didn't go to Juilliard.
Right.
You talking to a dude who ain't supposed to be here.
Right.
Everything I'm getting I ain't supposed to have.
Right.
So I'm already behind.
Right.
You know what I mean? But then I realized, wait a minute, if I just bring what I bring, I'm ahead. You know what I mean?
Right.
If I bring what only I bring to a project, because you can't do what I do.
Right.
You know what I mean? And this is the one thing that the magic, and this is what I want to tell every young man is trying to transition out. That's the way it works for everything. That you have something that no one else has, but it's up to you to find it.
Right.
You got to find it. And you don't find it by comparing yourself with everybody else or whatever. You find it by finding out what you want to do. And this is when I had to make the hard realization that, man, maybe football it wasn't for me, but it got me to where I am.
Right.
And I'm very thankful for it. But let me tell you, I love the game. In fact, I don't even have a team. I just love the players.
Right.
It's just, sitting here with players, talking about, what we came through. It feels like a fraternity, man.
Right.
It feels like something we can therapize each other.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because we all know it. We all seen it.
Right.
And we all played those games together. I mean, I was there when they was like, ain't no CTE. Sit down. You just weak.
Right.
I was like, man, my head hurt. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm seeing double.
Right.
And they're like, man, look, you just weak. I was there when they was telling everybody it wasn't real.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, no, this is real, man. This is real.
Want to join Club Shay Shay? Become an official member by hitting that subscribe button, where you never know who's going to be joining us for drinks and conversation. Don't be late to the party because we like to do something before two something.